You're listening to an RNIB Connect radio podcast.
We are focusing on a fully accessible sculpture exhibition now here on RNIB Connect Radio as Dr. Victoria Clare, a professional artist in contemporary sculpture who is also registered blind, has her new exhibition for Sense of Sculpture, which invites audience to experience sculpture through touch, sound and emotion at the Art House in Wakefield, which is on from the 18th of October to the 1st of November 2025. I'm delighted to say that I'm now joined by both Dr. Victoria Clare and Damon Jackson Waldock, co-executive director at the Art House in Wakefield, to tell me more about the Sense of Sculpture exhibition. Welcome to RNIB Connect Radio, Victoria and Damon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So firstly, Victoria, do give me and listeners a bit of a snapshot of your career as a professional artist in contemporary sculpture and how the Sense of Sculpture exhibition came about, as you have been an artist for a few years now and continuing to work with the deterioration of your eyesight due to retinitis pigmentosa.
Yeah, absolutely. A pleasure to do so. So I've been an art practitioner for 30 years, so quite some time, as you've said. Over those years, I've had many commissions all over the world, and I've had exhibitions in central London, including the House of Commons. And recently, I got my honorary doctorate, actually, that I think I spoke about last year on one of your colleagues' shows from the University of now Greater Manchester, but it was known as University of Bolton. And since getting the doctorate, I've now taken up a career in fine arts lecturing up at the university. And I'm also doing a PhD by professional practice. So this is how the exhibition has kind of evolved. So Blind to Sixth Sense was really the most pioneering and unique exhibition of its time, because I put 6 sculpted pieces, all of which represented the senses, into a completely pitch black gallery space at a Kent gallery called Beach Creative. That went extremely well, to the point where, I was quite astounded, actually, and it was being put in to be possibly shown at the Tate Turner in Margate. So, and then COVID came along, unfortunately, Toby, and those plans, kind of like most people's plans, went to the wayside and life continued. So I then continued creating another collection during COVID for an exhibition I was planning. However, life took a rather unusual turn, shall we say, and here I am now, mentioned Blind to Sixth Sense to various colleagues, and the conversation went very well with these people. I then got in touch with, or should I say, Damon got in touch with me after writing to the Wakefield, Barbara Hepworth, and we decided, hey, do you think we could do this again? So that's how it's come about, really, and we've changed the name. The name's been changed really just to kind of prove and show the piece has evolved from its first initial concept. The concept is the same. The pieces will be in the dark. It's a completely different collection of work, but it's got a very academic tone, obviously, because my career is in education now. So we're looking at responses, not just of the senses of 5 senses. Obviously, we're taking the distraction of vision away, so you can engage more deeply in the 4 senses. But we're also looking at, what should I say, really, the enhanced senses that we're maybe not so much aware of, our embodied cognition, which is basically the body's knowledge through its memory, through somatic responses and semantic responses, as well as internal awareness to our emotions. And I'm hoping that by putting this exhibition on, it will give the space for people to actually engage on a deeper level with sculpture.
So just give me a couple of examples of some of the sculptures that are going to be on display in the Sense of Sculpture.
Yes, we have a floor standing piece called The Guardian, which actually is quite an old piece of work. Back in 2013, it was created for an exhibition called Through the Eyes of Time, which was indeed the exhibition that ended up in the Houses of Parliament. And that's quite a large piece, which is represented as a wing. It's very symbolic. My work, if you're aware of my work, it's a very symbolic flow, kind of curvaceous style with lots of piercings. And sometimes I'll suspend things within those piercings. And then we've got another piece that is called Inner Child, which is very representational of a female figure that is pregnant, and the piercing in the pregnant belly is a suspended little baby. So that's just a kind of an overview of a couple of the works.
Damon, what was your sort of first reaction when Victoria came to you and said that she was going to put on an exhibition in the dark in your gallery space?
Yeah, I mean, we got talking over email and we had various phone calls, and I just thought it was an incredible, I started off by thinking this is something that I really want to experience. And then it kind of developed from there. I just thought it was an incredible, exciting way to kind of encounter sculpture. Where in Wakefield, it's described as the capital city of sculpture for the appreciation and the understanding and the development. And so what better place to kind of have an exhibition where we're allowed to touch the sculpture in the dark and really use all our senses to engage with works of art that you wouldn't necessarily go to a gallery and get the chance to do so. So I thought we have to do something.
And what is in place for visually impaired people who are coming to the Sensor Sculpture exhibition, so coming to the exhibition, an exhibition in the dark? I mean, what assistance is available for them? And also, how might you be helping sighted people who might be experiencing an exhibition in the dark for the first time?
I mean, of course, those are all things that we're currently thinking about when staging and planning this show. I mean, the Art House has been around as a charity for 31 years now, and it's always been around inclusion and access. So we've always designed our gallery spaces, all of our spaces that we have to be welcoming, accessible, as fully accessible as it can be. Nothing will ever be fully, but we'll always try and be as accessible as can be, and adaptable as well, and responsive to people. So, for Victoria's exhibition, we'll be offering tailored support for any visitor that comes through the door, including for blind and partially sighted visitors from the moment that they arrive. As with all our shows, this includes interpretation in Braille. We'll have descriptions of the space before people arrive and when they get here about what they're going to enter and experience. We'll also have a designated welcome and meet and greet person before entering the gallery space, who can also, as well as describing what they're about to experience, can also support movement through the exhibition if required. We'll have audio descriptions of the work themselves for anyone that wants to have someone be described the work to them, as well as having family resource kits that help all people to understand sculpture, because it isn't always the easiest thing for anybody to kind of understand and experience. So there's lots of different ways for all different kind of access needs and requirements, including quiet viewings, anyone that needs a calmer environment. We can have private appointments. We just want people, whatever their access or not, if they don't have any access needs, to just feel confident and safe and comfortable when they step foot into the art house. I think with this particular show, this is the first time we've done something in the history of the Art House, I believe, where we're showing an exhibition in the dark. So there are more things to consider, but this is the Art House. We always adapt, we always evolve, and we're constantly learning. We're already learning so much from Victoria as an artist, as a human being. So we're taking advice from local partners, Wakefield Site Aid, and we're going to get some feedback from our building itself to see what we can put in place if we do have a more increased footfall of those people that are partially sighted or blind. So we're adapting and evolving and learning as we go along.
That sounds fantastic. And I suspect, if the exhibition and all that you've put in place and that you have been putting in place at the Art House is, showing people and other galleries how art can be accessible to everyone, and especially blind and partially sighted people.
Yes, this is so true. I mean, for Wakefield, we're quite a proud city on the fact that we love our sculpture. It's big on making, it's big on understanding and appreciation of sculpture. And probably that stems from we're the birthplace of Henry Moore and Barbara Hepworth. And they were massive advocates, really, and passionate around the idea of engaging with sculpture, with using touch, understanding material and those senses. And I think working with Victoria, it really builds on that legacy. staging it here in the Art of Wakefield is just perfectly placed to invite people to connect with sculpture that really resonates with that kind of history and the legacy of Moore and Hepworth, in the belief that, art should be a tactile experience. But it really does go much further than that. It's beyond just allowing people to touch sculpture. It's, really important. It makes sculpture accessible to everybody, including blind and partially sighted people, especially for blind and partially sighted people, actually, because they would otherwise be excluded from experiencing artwork. If you go to other galleries and museums, it's often do not touch. Even though we have that, especially in Wakefield, we have that legacy of Moore and Hepworth inviting you and telling you that we need to understand art through touch and the senses. And now we're quite far removed from that. It's you do not touch. So this is quite a powerful shift in the way of experiencing art, that people can come whether they're blind, partially sighted or not. Like, it's a chance to discover sculpture that's something that's alive, and it's going to be, I think, a really personal experience. So it's more than just accessibility. It's many, many things. It's quite exciting that we get to stage that here at the Art House.
And Victoria, for you, I mean, what would you like people to come away with after experiencing the sense of sculpture, whether they're visually impaired or sighted?
Yeah, I just also want to state, obviously, as a blind woman myself, last time I put this exhibition on, it was, as I said, incredibly successful. And interestingly enough, it's almost like teaching people to suck eggs when you invite a visually impaired group to come and semantically enjoy the work. Because as we know, Toby, as blind people, we engage in the world in a completely sensorial manner on a daily level. Right. So actually, this is not a hardship for visually impaired people to enjoy the work at all. It's just kind of part and parcel of how we live. However, it's more actually aimed at the sighted world. So as an educator, it is, I guess, my duty, if you like, I see this as an educational duty to inform and give knowledge to how we visually impaired people kind of engage in our environment and each other, and also bring that sort of modality of touch, internal awareness, embodied cognition, semantic and semantic ways of being on all the information that our bodies allow us to perceive what we are engaging in to the sighted world. Because believe it or not, and forgive me if I'm getting too academic here, but there is proof that there is 80% of information within society is given through vision, which to me is ludicrous, because as a blind person, that is not the case. And I have to engage completely in those other sensorial manners. And I think the sighted world really are missing so much sort of fulfillment and engagement on a whole new level, because everybody is so distracted by their vision. So if you like, this exhibition, it really does, like Damon says, it goes beyond my first design of Blind a Sixth Sense, which was more accessible. It was more about giving a mission statement to galleries about making sculpture accessible for all. But on this account, it's more about actually trying to educate the sighted world with engaging with all of their senses, bodily and perceptually, and also their internal awareness of themselves and how they feel, more importantly. So that's what I want people to take away from it. There's a workshop actually that I've designed and I'm actually teaching at the Greater Manchester University, which is called Developing an Enhanced Embodied Cognition Using a Sensory Approach. I wrote a paper about this, which has been published, and this workshop is indeed in the process of being rolled out to different faculties and different fields and areas. It is all surrounding using the distraction of vision, if you like, and just stamping it out by blindfolding the participants. They then have to engage with clay. So we're using art and creativity to bring that to the forefront. But what they have to do is allow themselves to feel what it feels like not to be able to see, and also engage with all of the rest of their body to then create something but it's not about the product. It's more about the process. So it's more about a healing, a therapeutic, a kind of sense through the sculpture that they're creating with the clay, how healing and sensory that can be. So that workshop is actually running alongside the exhibition as well. So it's a very multi-dynamic project, I would say, which I'm hoping people will learn from and go forward in their own lives with a greater understanding of themselves and each other and how to engage with the world around them.
So, Damon, where can listeners go to find out more about the Sense of Sculpture exhibition at the Art House in Wakefield, which is on from the 18th of October to the 1st of November 2025?
So listeners can check us out online. They can visit our website. They can Google the Art House Wakefield or visit the-arthouse.org.uk. Visit our What's On page. You can find out all the information about the exhibition and also about those workshops that Victoria mentioned that are running alongside the show and how to take part.
Victoria, where can people go to find out more and more about your artwork too?
Okay, then there's various platforms, but mainly it's my website, which is www.victoriaclaire-beyondvision.com, where there is various kind of resources, information about my work, not just as an art practitioner, but also doing various things as well and supporting others. And also you can find me on Instagram under Victoria Claire, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Victoria and Damon, for chatting with me here on RNIB Connect Radio and telling me more about the Sense of Sculpture at the Art House in Wakefield.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
For more interviews, features and shows, go to your favourite podcast provider and search for RNIB Connect Radio.